Hi everyone, I'm Brune Smith and this is my podcast. Hello everybody, welcome back to the podcast for people who feel things differently. Today I want to offer you a practice for whenever you want to ground yourself ahead of creating anything. It'll be like hitting the reset button so that any anxiety you might be having in that moment recedes and you can enter your creative playground unbothered and find that state of flow more easily. This is important because whenever we sit down to write or paint or make music or knit or cook, maybe we don't sit down to cook, but you get me, and we do that from a place of exhaustion or overstimulation, we only have access to a small, tiny part of our creative spirit. All right, so you're going to pull out a pen and a sheet of paper or notebook and set aside 5 to 15 minutes. I know some of you haven't used pen and paper for a while and your go-to for scribbling anything is your phone. That is fine. Maybe you don't even have paper at home anymore. You can absolutely do this practice on your phone. However, I do want to challenge you on this. There is a special connection between our brain, our hand, and a simple sheet of paper. When we do anything on our phone, our brain is aware that even though we might be focused on writing something in our notes app, all these other apps are right there in front of us. That is distracting, even when we don't click on any of those apps. So you want to clear the landscape that's in front of you. So if you don't have paper at home, grab a used envelope or an old box of cereals and write on that. And make a note on your phone to buy a stack of paper or a notebook next time you're out and about. All right, so now you have your paper in front of you. You're going to write down the name of someone you admire. You can also write down 5 or 6 people you admire, and then you're going to choose one you're going to focus on. Someone who inspires you, someone who calls you into your own integrity. Someone who makes you laugh out loud. Someone who, anytime you hear them talk or read anything they wrote or anytime you engage with anything they created, you feel nourished, you feel energized, you feel grounded. Maybe being in the vicinity of that person's energy makes time disappear for you. It can be an artist, but it can also be a scientist. It can just be someone you know and love. It can be anyone. Now, I want you to think of how that person makes you feel, and I want you to write it all down. Write down why you admire them. What is it about them that is so vibrant and that gets you closer to who you really are? What is something they did or said that stood out to you? And take your time. That person has given you so much just by expressing their full self. And what you're doing is you're giving them some of your time back. And that's it. That's the practice. I want you to know 3 things. Number 1, of all the things that you just wrote down, you actually have a lot of those qualities, whether you know it or not. Number 2, this reconnects you to the direction where your soul wants to be expressed creatively. Number 3, by taking even just 5 minutes to bask in appreciation for someone or something, you are making room for your own creativity. If you'd like to take this further, you can actually start a list. And this time your phone is fine. Actually, it's perfect. I started my own list. I even looked for pictures of those people who inspire me on Google Images, and I had them printed out on photo paper. And I made a board that I see every time I sit down at my desk. It energizes me. And because it's you, I'll share with you the names of some of those people. Amir Thompson, aka Questlove, Domi Shi, the Toronto-based creator of the Pixar movie Turning Red, Seth Godin, whose book The Practice helped me tremendously for the creation of this podcast. If you've listened to previous episodes, you know that Lidia Yuknavitch is on there too. She's the author of The Chronology of Water, phenomenal memoir. She's the author of The Misfits Manifesto, a nonfiction book that I loved so much. She's the author of novels like The Book of Joan and Thrust and more. And one last person I'll mention is Danielle Crisa, aka The Jealous Curator, who I've been following for years and who I love dearly, and more. My list on my phone is growing and growing. I keep adding to it whenever someone moves me or inspires me. I'm thinking of printing out more pictures to bask in the energy of those people in my home, and it's just a nice list to look at whenever I need a pick-me-up. These people remind me that I am a creator. They seem to be telling me to keep going whenever I feel like giving up. They model things for me that I always want to have front of mind. That's the episode for today. Let me know on Substack who you would put on your list. You can do that at brunsmith.substack.com under this episode. And if you like, you can even share with this community on Substack as well what it is about these people or this person you admire so much. We'd love to know. You don't have to be a subscriber to leave a comment, but if you'd like to receive a weekend recap of the episodes of the week right in your inbox and join this community of people who feel things differently, please consider becoming a subscriber. We'd love to have you. And soon I'm going to roll out our monthly get-together for paid subscribers where we get to show up in community for our creativity. Thank you for listening. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe or follow the podcast wherever you're listening. This helps me tremendously. And until next time, let's do things differently.